The most studied longevity population on Earth has been growing their medicine in backyard gardens for over 1,000 years. Okinawa, Japan. More people, over 100 per capita, than anywhere else on the planet. Scientists don't debate this. The data is overwhelming. At the center of their secret, Hara Hachi, an ancient practice so precisely validated by modern neuroscience that Harvard researchers now call it one of the most effective metabolic tools ever documented. These people aren't guessing. They aren't following trends. They are living plant proof. At the heart of their longevity garden are the reason why. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll never look at your garden or your plate the same way again. Stick around, because number 17, Nigana, the bitter leaf, has been eaten by Okinawan elders since the Ryukyu Kingdom. Modern science just confirmed it activates the exact same pathways that regulate blood sugar and inflammation. Instinct, clinical proof. And number 20 isn't just a garden staple. It's the plant that held Okinawa's entire food system together through war, famine, and occupation. Nutritionists call it the most complete longevity food ever identified. Don't leave before we get there. If you believe real health comes from the ground, not a pharmacy, hit subscribe right now. We post every week connecting ancient wisdom with modern science. Now let's get into it. Here are 20 Okinawan plants, ranked from remarkable to life-changing. 1. Beni-imo, the purple powerhouse. This isn't the orange sweet potato from your grocery store. Beni-imo's flesh is deep purple, and that color is everything. Those pigments are anthocyanins, the same antioxidants as blueberries, but in far higher concentrations. They reduce oxidative stress, protect the heart, and support cognitive function. For Hara Hachi practitioners, its high fiber triggers early satiety, making it physically easier to stop at 80%. When Okinawans replaced Beni-imo with refined carbs, obesity rates climbed. The elders who still grow it live longest. 2. Goya, the bitter teacher, intensely bitter, jagged, emerald green. That bitterness isn't a flaw. It's a feature. Momotokin stimulates digestion. Charentin and polypeptide PIP mimic insulin and regulate blood sugar. Researchers studying metabolic syndrome are paying close attention. But here's what most people miss. The bitterness itself is a Hara Hachi tool. It slows you down, forces deliberate chewing, buys the brain the 20 minutes it needs to register fullness. The elders never abandoned it. Their pancreases show the difference. 3. Handama, the leaf of blood and longevity, green on top, deep purple underneath, anthocyanin rich. Traditional healers called it the leaf of blood and longevity, using it for anemia, fatigue, and weakness. Modern analysis confirms it rich in iron, magnesium, and vitamin A, one cutting in soil roots and spreads within days, a continuous supply of medicinal greens year-round. You don't need to be an expert. You just need to start. 4. Shikuwasa, the citrus secret of the North. This small tart citrus grows in northern Okinawa, the region with the highest concentration of centenarians even within the island. Not a coincidence. Shikuwasa is loaded with nobiltin, a flavone with anti-inflammatory, anti-obesity, and neuroprotective effects. In the kitchen, the juice replaces salt, bold flavor, zero hypertension risk. The elders of Ogimi village have been drinking it their entire lives. Science is finally explaining what they already knew in their bodies. 5. Fuchiba, the all-purpose medicine calcium, potassium, iron, fiber, essential oils with documented antimicrobial properties, traditionally used to lower blood pressure and soothe nerve pain. In the kitchen, it's added to fatty dishes to aid fat metabolism, a built-in corrective measure within the meal itself. Nutritionists are now formulating what Okinawans figured out centuries ago. 6. Sakuna, one leaf. One day of life folklore claimed one leaf granted one extra day of life. Science hasn't confirmed that bargain. But researchers have confirmed remarkably high antioxidant capacity, driven by chlorogenic acid and rutin, compounds that modulate immune responses and protect against cellular damage. Folklore was pointing towards something real. 7. Ukon, the daily anti-inflammatory turmeric in Okinawa, isn't a capsule. It's a daily food. Tea, stir-fries, broths, every morning. Curcumin inhibits NF-κB, the protein complex that drives chronic inflammation, the engine behind heart disease, cancer, and cognitive decline. Researchers call this slow creep inflammaging. Okinawan elders suppress it, not with pharmaceuticals. 1 cup of turmeric tea every morning for 90 years. That's the intervention, and their blood panels show remarkably low inflammatory markers. If you're seeing the pattern, if you're realizing this isn't folklore but a living, documented system proven in the longest-lived humans ever studied, hit that like button right now. It helps this reach people searching for answers. The mainstream isn't giving them. Subscribe, ring the bell. The best plants are still ahead. 8. Shoga, the circulation activator gingerols and shogals in ginger stimulate circulation, ease gastrointestinal distress, and reduce inflammation. Paired with turmeric in a morning tea, the 2 roots produce a synergistic medicinal effect, now backed by pharmacological research. What wellness culture sells as a premium supplement, Okinawan elders pick from their back garden every morning. 9. Daizu, the longevity protein soybeans provide essential isoflavones linked to reduced heart disease and hormone-related cancer risk. In the longevity garden, they're grown as edamame or fermented into miso natto and dense Okinawan tofu, adding probiotics that support gut diversity and immune function. Okinawan elders have been running that gut longevity experiment for generations. 10. Green papaya. The enzyme engine in Okinawa papaya is never waited on. It's harvested green, packed with papain, a proteolytic enzyme that breaks down protein and metabolizes fat in ways ripe papaya cannot. For Hara Hachi practitioners, it means maximum nutrition from a smaller quantity of food. Less food, fully processed, always beats more food, overwhelmed and half absorbed. 11. Shima Rakkyo. The cardiovascular shallot. These pungent shallots are always served first, lightly pickled as an appetizer. That positioning is intentional. Allicin, their key compound, is antibacterial and antithrombotic. It keeps blood fluid and reduces clotting risk. The elders designed this meal sequence with intuition refined over centuries. Cardiologists reviewing Okinawan diets are recognizing that intuition as structurally sound preventive medicine. 12. Nabera, the volume food sponge gourd harvested young, have one property that makes it essential to Hara Hachi, extraordinary water content. A bowl of miso-simmered Nabera fills the stomach with genuine physical volume, almost zero caloric load. Stretch receptors don't count calories. They respond to expansion. Nabera exploits this reality. In a Hara Hachi meal, its architecture, 13. Shibui, Dubi, the winter guardian. Winter, melon harvested in summer and stored through winter without refrigeration, providing vitamin C and hydration when other vegetables are scarce. Composed almost entirely of water and fiber, practitioners can eat a generous portion and consume almost nothing in calories. For a population practicing lifelong caloric moderation, a volumetrically generous but calorically minimal food isn't a luxury, it's a structural necessity. 14. Taanmu. The Satiety root Okinawan taro is richer in fiber, potassium, and calcium than the white potatoes dominating Western diets. Dense, sticky. It triggers a strong early sense of fullness, the kind that arrives before you've eaten too much. In a Hara Hachi system, a starchy root that signals satiety earlier is a tool, not just an ingredient. 15. Shikuwasa, the complete plant. Every part of the winged bean is edible. Pods, leaves, tubers. For a small-scale home garden, it's a complete nutritional system in one planting. Nothing wasted. Everything functional. That is Okinawan garden Ukon philosophy and Hara Hachi expressed not just at the table but in the soil itself. 16. Getu. The living wrapper shelled ginger leaves wrap traditional rice cakes, infusing them with polyphenols during cooking. Recent research has identified Geto's ability to increase lifespan in model organisms by modulating oxidative stress pathways. Longevity researchers are paying attention. Okinawan grandmothers have been doing it every January for centuries because tradition had already proven itself across generations. 17. Nigana, the bitter healer, consumed in Okinawa since the Ryukyu Kingdom, exceptionally rich in vitamin C and calcium. Traditional healers prescribed it for colds, heart disease, and fever. Here's what modern science confirmed. Like Goya, Nigana's bitterness is a biological signal. It activates the digestive system's preparation pathways, triggering bile production and enzyme release before the main meal arrives. The body, primed for optimal absorption from a smaller food volume. Two bitter plants in the same traditional diet, both serving the same satiety function. That's not coincidence. That's a system built across centuries of empirical observation. One that modern gastroenterology is now validating from the laboratory side. 18. Mui. The hydration crop, the Okinawan red cucumber, thrives in subtropical summer heat, high in water, potassium, and vitamin C. For elderly Okinawans, it delivers fluid intake in food form, more reliably consumed than reminders to drink water. Often pickled with rice vinegar, adding a probiotic dimension. Not glamorous, practical, and in a longevity system, sustained daily nutrition beats dramatic occasional interventions. Every time. 19. Chidekuni. The strength restorer, the Okinawan yellow carrot, longer, thinner, sweeter, high in carotene and pectin, traditionally simmered with organ meats to create a restorative broth for elders and the recovering. Beta-carotene from carrot, plus concentrated micronutrients from organ meat, a precision recovery formula. Traditional Okinawan cooking wasn't cultural habit. It was applied nutritional science, communicated through recipe rather than research paper. And now we reach number 20. The plant I saved for last because it holds the entire system together. This is the plant that sustained Okinawa through its most devastating chapter, through World War II, through famine, through occupation. When everything else was gone, this plant was still growing, still feeding people, still keeping them alive. Blue Zone researchers call it the most nutritionally complete longevity food ever identified, a whole diet in a single plant. You probably know what it is, but you don't know the half of it yet. 20. Handama, sweet potato leaves, the survival superfood Handama, the leaves of the Beni-imo plant. While the world celebrated the tuber, Okinawan elders were quietly eating the entire plant, and the leaves may be more nutritionally significant than the root they feed. Vitamins A and C, calcium, iron, in concentrations that rival dedicated leafy greens. During the post-Wei food scarcities, when Okinawa lost nearly a third of its population, Handama was the survival food. Families with sweet potatoes had leaves to eat even when the tubers hadn't matured. It kept people alive, it kept communities together, and it kept Hara Hachi intact. Because Handama, like nearly every plant in this garden, is high in fiber and volume relative to its caloric load, naturally compatible with the 80% rule. The most humble plant in the longevity garden turns out to be, in every measurable way, one of the most extraordinary. If you made it to the end, here's what you just witnessed. Not a trend, not a supplement campaign, not another wellness influencer with a green juice. A living, multi-generational, scientifically validated system of health, grown from the ground up in the kitchen gardens of the longest-lived people on Earth. Okinawa isn't a mystery, it's a model. Hara Hachi isn't a diet hack, it's a philosophy, and these 20 plants are the botanical architecture that makes it possible to sustain across a century of living. The science isn't catching up to Okinawa. The science is finally learning to read what Okinawa has been writing in its soil for 1,000 years. From the Okinawan plants and Hara Hachi wisdom you just discovered comes more than longevity. It's your foundation for total transformation. Picture this: burning stubborn fat, rebuilding real strength, and adding extra healthy years, all powered by plants. You grow right at home. My book, The Plant-Powered Weight Loss Blueprint. How to burn stubborn fat, rebuild strength, and add extra healthy years. Starting right at home gives you the exact step-by-step system. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code on screen to grab your copy now. Love this, smash that like button. If this changed the way you think about your garden and your plate, drop a comment. Which plant surprised you most? Team Goya and Nigana, the bitter healers. Team Beni-imo and Handama, the purple survivors. Or are you already hunting down a Shikuwasa tree? I read every single comment, and if you haven't subscribed, hit that button and ring the bell. We connect the ancient wisdom of the world's longest-lived peoples with the science that explains why it works. The most powerful health system ever documented isn't in a pharmacy. It isn't in a clinical trial. It's in a garden on a small island in the Pacific, tended by people who've been proving it works for 1,000 years. Your garden can be part of that story too.